I thought I would end this section of the course with a list of 10 tips and tricks to create better Canva websites. And this is a mix of things I've learned along the way by creating a couple of different websites for myself and for other people. So here we go. Tip number 1, set a clear goal for your website. Before you start designing, or even before you start drawing the structure of your website, ask yourself, why am I creating this website? What am I trying to achieve with this website? What next step do I want my website visitors to take? It is really important that you make this crystal clear. And it could be a few different things. You don't have to limit yourself to only one thing or one action. For example, the website we created together during this section aims at a couple of different things. First, I want people to click through my other page, the other website I created, where I explain 3 steps they can take to start their Canva journey. And there they will have the choice to discover my tutorials on YouTube, to try my Canva Pro affiliate link, or to buy my courses. The website also aims at getting people to contact me, to work with me in different ways, by booking me to conduct a webinar or talk for them, or simply to write me an email and explore ways we could collaborate. So what would be your goals? Try to come up with 1 to 3 goals for your website and then prioritize them. Tip number 2, come up with some explicit call to action. Your call to action are the buttons you create or the links you include in your website to incite your viewers to take specific actions. And calls to action can be implicit, like the social media links under my photo on the homepage, or the 3 courses I'm promoting on my website. I would say that these are implicit because there is no proper call to click on this or buy that. The buttons are there, but people are free to click on them. I just made them obvious enough so that people know what to do. And then calls to action can also be explicit, like the buttons I created on the website. So let's go through them one by one so I can explain what I did in terms of the copy that I used on these buttons. The first one says, start your Canva journey. Here I'm trying to appeal to beginner Canva users or people who might not know Canva yet. I thought that coming up with the concept of a journey would work nicely with the paragraph of text that I use above this button that emphasizes how Canva is a powerful tool to generate an income. I would recommend that you use strong action verbs in your calls to action and keep these calls to action short. The second button says, book me for your event. Now, this one is directed at a very different audience. I don't know who will be visiting my website, but what I know is that I receive quite a few inquiries via email and my LinkedIn profile. As this is a part of my business that I'm keen on developing, on growing, I thought I would add a section and a button for that on the website. Also, I kept it short and to the point, using book me as the strong action verb. And then the last button is just my contact email, hello@ronniehermosa.com. Here, I decided to use the email itself as the call to action because some people might not understand that they can click on this button, or they might click on it, but then their computer might not be opening their email software like it happened to me. In that case, if the button doesn't work for them, they can still read the email and type it in Gmail or Outlook if they want to write me an email. Had I used a call to action saying something like, write me an email, then they would have had no way of reaching out to me if the button was not working properly. So there you go. These are some tips related to your calls to action. Next is tip number 3, draft the structure of your website. It will really help you to have a clear idea of how many pages, how many sections you want, and what content and call to action each section is going to contain. As you know, I have drawn a simple one-page structure of my website on a sheet of paper before getting started. I added some bullet points of the things my copy needed to include, but also the buttons and the calls to action where they were needed. And I actually used a different color on my drawings for my calls to action so that they were easy to see. It doesn't have to be fancy, but create a structure before you start designing. Also, let it sit for a while. Give it a bit of time. Reflect on it. Is this really what you want to show? In that order? Once you have drawn your structure, keep it handy when you are designing. Tip number 4, create consistency. Choose a color palette, font combination, and an imagery style that you like, and then stick to it for your entire website. I went with my personal brand color scheme with the yellow dominant color, and it helps to create a brand kit in Canva before you start, or even to use an existing brand kit. Also, be consistent with your font and the hierarchy of these fonts. If you use a title for each section of your website, make sure these titles have a similar size. Same for the body of your paragraphs, for example, on each section of your website. You should know the drill by now. Tip number 5, use Canva's templates. Canva has a ton of great templates, and that for websites too. You saw me exploring the templates, using the filters to refine and narrow down my searches, and then starring a few templates that I liked. I guarantee you will work much faster and achieve better results if you mix and match a few pre-existing templates. Make sure to customize them though, and not just use them as is, if you don't want to end up with the exact same website as hundreds of other lazy Canva users. Tip number 6, optimize your copy. Copy is really important for your website, and that is the one thing Canva will not really help you with. Take some time to optimize your headlines, your calls to actions, and your paragraph. Make them catchy, punchy, and relevant. You will notice that I didn't simply copy the text in my home page's buttons and use that as the section titles. I tried to create some complementary copy. Because why repeating the same thing twice and waste valuable characters on your website? As a general rule, try to keep text to a bare minimum, which leads me to tip number 7, delete all unnecessary information. Once you're done writing your copy, go through it again and ask yourself, is this information really necessary? If you're not sure, or if there is a more succinct way of saying the same thing, you should probably rephrase your copy. Remember that people don't like to read, so keep your text to a minimum and use relevant images to support your points. And this is tip number 8. Choose attractive images. Your images is what people will notice first, and they need to look consistent across your entire site. And I try to use that light blue background in mine, but also your images need to give people a good reason to read more. So take time to shoot some professional photos of yourself, avoid the cliches, avoid stock images on your website, and if possible, use Canva to create some great visuals, like the one I made to show our media reach. Tip number 9, make them interactive. Insert clickable elements and embed interactive media to make your website interesting. Canva allows you to do some cool things like embedding a YouTube video or adding a video in the background of your sections. So use these features to retain your audience's attention. And finally, tip number 10, keep them short and sweet. Remember that Canva sites have been originally designed to be single-page scrolling sites, so try to build a website that will fit in that vision. I would recommend you keep it between 1 to 6 sections that flow well together. Also, don't try to pack too much information into one page. Instead, break it down into several pages or several sections. And that's it. I hope these tips will help you improve your Canva websites. Now go out there and create something beautiful.